The dust swirled around Daniel Harper's truck as he pulled onto the familiar dirt road leading to his family's ranch in Pinewood County. A federal attorney who'd spent 3 grueling years in Washington, D.C., crafting the Land Access and Preservation Act, Daniel was finally home. The 500-acre ranch rolling meadows, pine forests, and sparkling streams had been in the Harper family for 3 generations. His grandfather bought it in the 1940s, his father expanded it in the 1980s, and Daniel inherited it 5 years ago when his parents passed. This land was more than property. It was his legacy, his future. But as he crested the hill overlooking the eastern edge of the ranch, his heart stopped. Where open fields once stretched, a sprawling community of 84 rustic cabins now stood complete with paved roads, manicured lawns, and a clubhouse with a gleaming pool. This wasn't a mistake. This was theft. Fury rising, Daniel drove toward the development, only to be stopped by a guardhouse and a uniformed security officer. A wooden sign read, "Cedar Grove Estates, private property, residents only." "This is my land," Daniel said, voice tight. "I'm Daniel Harper, the owner." The guard's hand hovered near his radio, eyes narrowing. "Sir, this belongs to the Cedar Grove Homeowners Association. Leave, or I'll call the sheriff." Daniel's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Threatened with trespassing on his own ranch? Years of legal training kept him calm. "Fine," he growled. "I'll see the sheriff myself." At the sheriff's office, Daniel found Tom Reynolds, a longtime friend of his father's. Tom's face darkened as Daniel recounted the scene. "That development's been going up for 18 months, Tom said. The HOA filed easement papers, all approved. Councilman Victor Ramsey fast-tracked it." Daniel's legal mind flagged the term fast-tracked. Corruption reeked here. Back at his ranch house, a certified letter from the Cedar Grove HOA awaited, signed by Catherine Vance, a real estate tycoon with a reputation for ruthless deals. It accused him of trespassing and threatened lawsuits if he harassed residents. Daniel's blood boiled. They didn't know he'd written the very easement law they were twisting. Determined, Daniel called Sarah Mitchell, a brilliant young attorney and his former Georgetown student. She arrived the next day, eyes wide as he laid out the situation. "They built an entire community on forged documents," she said, shaking her head. At the county records office, with Tom's help, they uncovered easement papers bearing Daniel's grandfather's signature forged, dated 2 years ago, though he'd been dead for 20. The approvals? Processed in a suspicious 24 hours. Sarah dug deeper, cross-referencing Vance's projects. A pattern emerged. Vance targeted valuable land, entangled owners in easement disputes, and forced sales at rock-bottom prices. Councilman Ramsey's signature appeared on every approval. They met Margaret Ellis, a 72-year-old whose family lost their farm to Vance. She offered $150,000 for land worth millions, Margaret said, hands trembling. "When we refused, the county hit us with code violations out of nowhere." The Andersons' story was worse. After rejecting Vance's offer, they faced fabricated environmental citations. The stress triggered John Anderson's heart attack, and his widow sold for pennies. Their farm? Now luxury condos. "It's a playbook," Sarah said grimly. "Identify, isolate, intimidate, acquire." The stakes rose when Daniel confronted land surveyor James Carter, whose name was on the forged documents. "I just draw the lines they tell me," Carter stammered, pale. "Vance has connections." His fear confirmed Daniel's suspicions. Meanwhile, Sarah, posing as a buyer, called Cedar Grove's sales office. The agent let slip plans for a high-end entertainment facility to boost property values, Vegas-style amenities, unadvertised due to pending approvals. A leaked architectural plan confirmed it. A casino disguised as a community center, a zoning violation rushed through to avoid public scrutiny. Vance struck back. She held a community meeting, painting Daniel as a Washington elitist threatening homeowners' dreams. Flashing forged documents, she asked, "Why should these families lose their homes?" When Daniel tried to explain the fraud, his microphone cut out, and the crowd turned hostile. Residents, once his neighbors, glared as if he were the villain. That night, alone on his porch, the twinkling lights of Cedar Grove mocked him. But Vance didn't know Daniel's ace. He'd written the law she was exploiting. The attacks escalated. Daniel's ranch gate was rammed, his access road blocked by freshly cut trees. And worst of all, his cattle's water supply was poisoned with industrial chemicals. Hidden cameras caught a Cedar Grove maintenance truck at 2 a.m., its driver tampering with the water. "This ends now," Daniel told Sarah, fury burning. They filed a lawsuit against Vance, the HOA, Ramsey, and complicit officials, alleging fraud, corruption, and environmental crimes. Daniel's response to the HOA's cease and desist letter was a legal masterstroke, warning of federal charges. Vance doubled down, smearing Daniel as unstable in the media. But cracks appeared. Carter, caught between Vance's threats and an FBI probe, turned over emails and a voicemail of Vance ordering falsified surveys. A disillusioned HOA board member, risking her savings, recorded Vance at a closed meeting. The law is just a tool for those who know how to use it, Vance sneered. Westbrook's naive, thinking it's about justice. It's about power. That recording was Daniel's trump card. In court, the gallery buzzed with residents and reporters. Vance's high-priced lawyers flashed confidence, citing the Federal Land Access Act. Daniel stepped to the podium, voice steady. "I'm familiar with that law," he said, locking eyes with Vance. "I wrote it." The room gasped. As the act's drafter, he dismantled their arguments, exposing the forged easements. Carter testified, trembling, detailing Vance's orders. The recording played Vance, voice damning her. Another witness, Ellen Carter, recounted how Vance's tactics stole her family's land years earlier. Ramsey, facing perjury, confessed to bribery. Vance's composure cracked. "This is absurd," she shouted, lunging toward the exit. Sheriff Reynolds cuffed her for contempt as Judge Henry Brooks ordered her detained for fraud and obstruction. The ruling was a triumph. The easements were void, damages awarded, and the cabins ordered removed. But Daniel faced a dilemma. 84 families, innocent buyers, risked losing everything. The Millers, with 2 kids, pleaded, "We had no idea." Their daughter's question about her treehouse hit hard. Daniel couldn't destroy their lives. After consulting Sarah and environmental experts, he proposed a bold solution. The cabins could stay under a new, transparent HOA with strict conservation rules. A land trust would protect the remaining ranch, funded by Vance's seized assets. The court approved, and Daniel's easement guide empowered residents to protect their rights. 3 years later, Daniel sits on his porch, the mountains glowing at sunset. Cedar Grove, once a symbol of theft, thrives sustainably, hosting conservation workshops. Vance serves 15 years. Ramsey and others got lighter sentences. The land heals, and the community trusts again. Daniel didn't just reclaim his ranch, built a legacy of justice, proving his father's words. "Land's a promise to those who come after us." Vance tried to break that promise. Instead, she forged a community.